Welcome again. So today we're going to look at variables. Now, a variable is basically just a storage container for a particular value. So I could have a variable called my variable, and that variable called my variable could hold many different values. So if it was a number type variable, it could have the values 1 to 10 or 1 to a million. There are different types of variables for different types of data. For example, there are string variables. So we did talk about strings in an earlier video. So strings meaning just basically text. So there are text variables, there are number variables, and there's certainly many other different types of variables. But let's just dive into it now. Okay, so we're going to create a new Flash file and also a new document class. So you can go File, New, okay, just accept the defaults, make sure ActionScript 3 is selected and click OK. Okay, so to create a document class in the top right, make sure Properties, you've got Document up here and you're typing in, we're going to call it Variables. Okay, so yep, Variables, and then press Enter. Click OK to this warning, remember, and then click on the little pencil to start editing. Okay, we'll also save everything again now. So we want to save our Flash file as well. So we've got our variables.as file, and this is our Flash file. We haven't actually saved that and given it a name yet, so let's do that now. So File, Save As, and we're going to call it Variables. So the same name as our class file. Already exists. Okay, get rid of that. Okay, so we've got variables.fla and save our ActionScript file as well. Okay, so we've got variables.fla, variables.as, and variables.as is our document class. Okay, so we've seen code similar to this before with our high class. Now we're going to start using variables. Okay, the first variable, we might use a string variable. So basically just text. When we want to display things as text or use text in its raw form, we'll use a string variable. Now, variables, we're going to create these variables within our constructor. So we can delete that comment. Probably don't need that one. Okay, so we want to declare a variable. So a declare means to set up a variable. So you type var. So you always have to use the var keyword to set up a variable. And let's call this one my string. So it's obvious what data type it is. Oops. Okay, so it's var my string. So my string is the name of our variable. Now, with variables in ActionScript, we have to give it a data type, so a variable type. So I mentioned before we've got text type variables, number type variables, and many other different types of variables. But this one we're going to call a string. So just what you do, you have var space, the name of the variable, my string in this case. Then you have to use the colon. So colon, and you can select your variable type from this list, but it may just be simpler just to type in string. Okay, so that's a string with a capital S. After that, we have declared our variable and given it a data type. So we could, if we wanted to, just put the semicolon there, and we've got a variable. But we want to actually assign a value to it when we set up the variable. We can assign a value to a variable later. That's the whole point of variables. However, we're going to set it up now. So okay. And we're going to type in my string. Not very original, but it makes it clear what we're doing. Okay, so this is how we create a string variable. Okay, now let's just use that variable. So there, my string, colon string equals my string. Okay, let's use that. So we're going to use a trace function. Again, very simple. So I've typed in trace, I put in the brackets already, and I've also put in the semicolon. Now I do that first, just out of habit. Next thing is where I'm going to type in the variable name that I want to display. Okay, so let's type in my string. Okay, and just make sure everything's saved again. Save all, and let's run it. Control Enter and see what happens. Okay, my string in our output, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, you can close that. So we know it's working. Now, just before line 10, we're going to assign our variable myString a different value. So that's the whole point of variables. You can assign different values to the same variable. So myString, we've given myString an initial value called myString. Now we're going to change it to myString equals hi, in quotes, and semicolon. Okay, now let's save that again. Unfortunately, you do have to save every time you make a change, before you run it, and Control Enter. Okay, so now it says hi. So we initially had the value myString for the myString variable. We've changed it to hi, and now when we output it, it says hi, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, we'll leave that there for string variables, and we'll look at different types of variables next.